me off. My phone hasn't been cut off all day because I've just been keeping myself to myself. And then the second I start talking about this, they cut me off. So it tells you I'm telling the truth about everything I'm saying because it's always a dead giveaway. I don't know how much you heard, but the last bit would have been cut off, and I'm actually really glad because I wasn't conveying the message properly anyway. So what I was saying was, when Jesus was talking about the prophets and the scholars hiding the keys to the knowledge of the kingdom of heaven, and he was saying, "Be like the snake and the dove." What he was saying was, "Be like the snake and the dove, and have ears to hear. Do it your own way. Find your path to God your own way. If you have to go about it, if you have to have your connection to God away from what the scholars and the prophets are telling you, do it, because it will bring you to a place of peace anyway." I'll put a link to the Gospel of Thomas. There's some incredible things in there. When he was talking about the grapevine coming from the Father, and if the grapevine not being nourished, the grapevine will be pulled up and basically like wilt away. Meaning, like, if the son isn't raised by an honourable father, then no fruit will grow from the vine. And that hit hard for me because it's the Gospel of Thomas, and it's the first thing I thought was my sons. So there's some beautiful things in there. What I recommend you do, it only goes for just over 33 minutes. But what I suggest you do is when you've got nothing to do, I don't have a TV or anything like that. I don't have broadband or anything like that. So I listen to a lot of things, but I like to just put my headphones on. It's all because my secret best friend, the he who is in darkness that sheds that he who is in darkness that shines the light. Let's just call him that. Was talking about the Book of Solomon, and I love the Book of Solomon. I love the words of the wisdom of, well, not the, well, yeah, the wisdoms of Solomon. Solomon's one of my favourite people in the Bible, so I got excited when he was talking about the Book of Solomon, and I started listening to the Book of Solomon, and I thought, I feel like to listen to something different. So then one of the things that YouTube recommended was the Gospel of Thomas, and because my son Thomas, he's St. Thomas, he's the twin. Thomas means twin, but his middle name is after his father Christopher, so he's the twin bearer of Christ. And so whenever I see like the Gospels of Thomas and all that, I always think of my baby. There's things in there that I think he would find really helpful in terms of, because he's been if you're all I'm going to say is this, because I don't know what he's told anyone, so I need to respect him, but all I'm going to say is this: there's things in there, if you're questioning yourself, Jesus has given you the answer in the Gospel of Thomas. And I know he's referring to when a man and a woman have a child, that child is neither a man or a woman, but if you're questioning yourself, because I keep saying to my son, God doesn't make mistakes, and that we are born to be exactly who we are meant to be. God does not make mistakes. So if anyone ever tells you that you're wrong for being who you are or who you think you are, they're the ones who are wrong, because God doesn't make mistakes. And it was my mum that taught me that. God is perfect. God doesn't get anything he creates wrong. And even though there's stuff in the Gospel of Thomas that it's talking about the privilege of giving birth to a child, when a mother and a father come together and they create a child, that child is neither the mother or the father, that child is one. But then he then goes on about the grapevine. When the grapevine grows away from the father, and it's not nourished, basically meaning that the role of the father and what the child grows up to be is exceptionally important. And when the child doesn't have the right kind of father, the grapevine isn't going to bear fruit. It will be undernourished. So I had to be both the vine and the grape for my sons. But there's ways you can look at some of the stuff that he says. If you're questioning yourself, your purpose, your life, who you are, your identity, that sort of thing, where he spells it out perfectly clear, it hit my heart like an arrow when I read it, because I thought, gosh, if only I could show my son this. Even though Jesus means it this way, it could also be taken to mean it that way as well. But like I said, I'm not going to go into that publicly, but put the headphones on. If you just want to listen, put it on, lay in bed as you're sort of getting ready to drift off to sleep, or put your headphones on while you're cooking dinner, doing the dishes, put it in the car and listen to it while you're driving. But the Gospel of Thomas has got things in there that'll blow your mind. If you know my work and you know what I've been preaching and you know my sermons and you know what I'm here for and you know my story and my philosophies and all of that, the Gospel of Thomas is going to be quite mind-blowing. 114 things that Jesus said that people don't know that he said because they were hidden, because they don't want you knowing these things. But the bit where he says people think that I came to bring peace, but I came to bring war, was just like, whoa, because it ties into what's happening at the moment. People have had to see the truth of these, like the corrupt NATO and all that, and what they've been saying and doing against Russia and Vladimir Putin, who is the Holy Father bloodline. And then, because then he goes on to say, those who blaspheme against the Father shall be forgiven. The people who realised that Vladimir Putin wasn't the bad guy will be forgiven, because they had ears to hear and listen to the propaganda. So they'll be forgiven when they realise they made a mistake. Those who blaspheme against the Son shall be forgiven, because those who had ears to hear chose to listen to the propaganda and the conspiracy theories about the King Charles bloodline, the Holy Son bloodline. But those who blasphemed against the Holy Spirit, who had ears to hear and chose not to listen, won't be forgiven on earth or in heaven, because they turned their back on God. Because the Holy Spirit is the messenger, the one who's here to prepare everybody for the new world, to get everybody ready for the death of the old world. Jesus said he's here to divide the world, good versus evil. But he has to show you who is the good and who is the evil first, and that's what he meant. And then, of course, I'm here, and I'm like, spreading my message, and everybody turned against me, just like they did the Father and the Son. But when they turned against me, they turned their back on their own Creator. They denied thy Father. They denied their Creator. They denied the messenger. I'm not in public view. I am a voice that speaks out into the ethers, unlike Vladimir Putin and King Charles, who are on the world stage. They're out there, they're pronounced, they're obvious, everyone knows who they are. People only know me by my voice. I mean, yeah, I've got videos up with my face in that, but it's it's not my face that matters. It's my voice, it's my message. So when you have the ears to hear my message, then you know the kingdom of heaven, then you know God. But when you close your ears off to my message, then you're denying God, you're denying thy Father, you're denying the Creator, and God doesn't forgive you for that. So everybody that wronged me, everybody who did this to me, everybody who has targeted me, even when they know the truth, even when they admit the truth, they will never be forgiven for their sins. Because to sin against the Holy Spirit is to turn your back on your Creator. And I just thought that was quite powerful. With the exception of my sons, because my sons were malnourished from the father who was their vine. They're children, and all children are innocent. They are the product of the mother and the father, but they are themselves one. So there's some really beautiful things in there. The fact that they cut me off, I haven't been cut off in quite a while. I've been pretty much left alone, but yeah, the fact that they cut me off there and then speaks volumes. So, he who was in the darkness but sheds light inspired me to listen to the Gospels of Thomas when he was talking about the Book of Solomon. And yeah, I felt compelled to. I would love to be able, when I have my radio show, when I have my radio station, I was saying in my post, I would love to have like a little Stoic philosophy section where, I read bits from Marcus Aurelius's meditations and discuss what I think he's saying. It used to give me migraines when I read that book because his stuff was so intense to try and figure out, but was mind-blowing once I did. But I'd love to talk about these sort of things as well, like the Gospels of Thomas, maybe like on a Sunday for Sunday morning radio. I'd love to do stuff like that, bring other people in as well. Have like a little discussion panel thing, I don't know. So, yeah, so he who is in the darkness but shines the light, once again inspired me. The one from my dream this morning that kissed my scars, that was rubbing my scars and kissed my scars. Um, yeah. So, the healer, the healing. We healers together. We heal people together. Um, I, he probably, if he saw me in real life, he'd probably be like, "Oh my god!" Because mostly I'll like click on his videos, and he's either gotten like it's not for me, or like he gets some of it right, but he mm, interprets things wrong, or it like it doesn't resonate. But every now and then he'll put something out that inspires me. He yeah. So um, who doesn't want people like that in their life though? The master makers, the ones who raise you up, the ones who know what to say to remind you who you are. And he was talking about the Book of Solomon, and having the wisdoms of Solomon. And so then I was listening to the Book of Solomon, and then I just thought, I don't really feel like to listen to this. I want to listen to something else. And the Gospels of Thomas was recommended, and it was like, whoa, this is what I want to talk about. So, anyway, I'll put a link in the description box. I'm going to put the thumbnail up so you can see what it says. So, basically, he's saying anyone who did me wrong are in trouble. So the governments, the billionaires, the oligarchs, the tech giants, the von der Leyens, the exes, the friends and family members and that, yeah, they're in trouble. I loved it. I was like, oh my God. So, yeah, but anyway, all jokes aside, listen to it. Just listen to it. It's mind blowing. If you're questioning yourself, your identity, your purpose in life, if you're scared of what's happening in the world, listen to the Gospels of Thomas, because it's beautiful. If you have trouble understanding what it is he's trying to say, just leave a wee message in the comment box and we can have a discussion about it. I'd love to have people in my life that I can talk to this stuff about. I don't have anyone in my life who wants to learn about the Gospels and, you know, the Stoic philosophy, and I'm not saying that I haven't met anyone on my level, but I kind of feel like I'm in this on my own because I have yet to find anyone who thinks the same way I do, other than he in the darkness who shines the light. But even then, he's only about 20% right when it comes to me. But when the videos that he posts do resonate with me, he like hits the nail on the head in a way that's like, whoa. So, yeah, he's still there though. He's in the darkness, hiding in the shadows, but he spreads the light for so many other people that do resonate with his messages. It's just with me, it's just they're very few and far between. His little AI voice that everybody uses. Anyway, I'm going to go. Links in the description box. It only goes for 33 minutes. I just recommend just putting it on while you're cooking dinner or while you're doing housework or while you're just laying in bed wanting to go to sleep, and just think about what he's saying and put your own meanings to them. And you'll see Jesus in a completely different way. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Do it yourself. But if you have trouble understanding anything that that these messages are saying, just leave a comment, and we can discuss it. I'd love to have people to discuss this stuff with, because then I can explain it the way I understand it as God's messenger, as the Holy Spirit. So I'm going to go because I'm getting hungry now, and I'm probably going to have an early tea and then have an early night. So I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.